Hello again. This is Bill Mazer, area code 212 Plaza 78866. We're going to take your calls in just one moment. All right, let's take our first call. Bill Mazer, WNBC.
Hello, Mr. Mazer. This is the Jackson Heights Anti-Met Fair.
I know you, sir.
Now, I've been wanting to talk to you for some time now.
What happened?
I'm not going to talk about the Mets, of course.
How come you couldn't get on?
Well, I've been pretty busy with those Yankees, but in any event, the World Series is proving my most accurate contention, Bill. The American League is overwhelmingly stronger than the National League. Now, Baltimore is so far superior to the National League's #1 team that if they were in the National League this past season, they would have run away with the flag. They would have clinched it before Labor Day. And on the other side of the coin, if the Dodgers would have been in the American League, they'd have been lucky to have finished in the first division.
And
now,
you
I
think...
want to give you some examples.
Tell me one thing. You think Sandy Koufax is an overrated pitcher?
I'm not saying Sandy Koufax is overrated, but I will say that if he was an American League pitcher, he'd be below Jim Cott, for one thing.
You really think so?
Absolutely. Now,
Well,
here's another example. Jim Palmer is only a 15-10 pitcher with an earned run average of worse than 3.5.
Well, let me ask you a better question.
Yeah.
What about the pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals, Larry Jaster, who shut the Dodgers out 5 games to set a new all-time record? You figure he should win at least 30 ball games in the National League, shouldn't he?
Well, if he kept pitching against the National League's #1 team, which is impossible, but...
In other words, all you're telling me is that based on 2 games, you're ready and willing and able to come to the conclusion that Jim Katt's a better pitcher than Sandy Koufax and that Baltimore...
He's in a stronger league, and he has a record comparable to Koufax.
Did you feel that the American League was a stronger league last year?
I've felt
Excuse me, did you think the American League was a stronger league? Excuse me.
Lately they're proving the point.
Wait a second. Now hold it. Hold the phone.
I mean, you look at
Did you think the American League was a stronger league in '65 when the Dodgers beat Minnesota? Did you think they were a stronger league in '64 when St. Louis beat the Yankees? Do you think they were a stronger league in '63 when the Dodgers beat the Yankees 3 straight? Or do you think they're just stronger leagues whenever they win the World Series?
The World Series winner in itself is not all conclusive.
Oh, well, that's all right.
Conclusions I take is by taking individual players and how they perform when they go to the other leagues.
Let me just say this to you. If you are ready to tell me that Jim Katt is a better pitcher than Sandy Koufax...
Only because he has to pitch in a much stronger league. You know, Jim Katt in the National League
Incidentally, would you explain to me how come Frank Robinson, who never was the best...
316, he has admitted that... he hasn't had this most sensational season. He did better with Cincinnati in his rookie year. He's the MVP with Cincinnati, too.
Oh, in other words, he really isn't...
The American League does not have as many type Frank Robinson batters, I'll give you that.
All right, wait a second.
In the pitching department, there is no comparison. Every team in the American League, like Kansas City, the 7th-place team, has got 5 pitchers like Larry Jaster as far as the Dodgers are concerned.
All right. You've made your point. Thank you.
You're
nice
welcome.
talking to you. Right. Now we have 2 commercials, and then we'll take another call.
Oh, Mr. Bader.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to, about the person who called up just a little while ago. You know, it's such a silly comment to make about the American League and the National League, and about Sandy Koufax, who is really a brilliant pitcher in my estimation, and a man who has pitched with a ball club like the Dodgers, who never, this whole year, haven't been hitting at all, and he's been such a great pitcher. So I just can't like to repudiate that statement that fellow made. I think it's very silly to even argue the point like that.
Oh, no. I've spoken with him before. Listen, let me tell you something. I have lorded it over the American League on so many occasions that if a guy wants to call up, when I'm at the lowest point, I tell you, when Willie Davis dropped that second fly ball, and I heard the 4 announcers saying, well, that's a tough break, and it really is a tough break, I would like Willie Davis to walk in and say to management, I don't want to get paid for today's game. Then I'll agree, no booing. But since it's a performer, and since when I put on a poor performance, I expect to get booed too. Oh, did you ever, in all your born days, ever see anything like it?
No, never really. Well, I think, you know, when in the game 2 today, when Sandy Koufax was pitching, when the person makes a few errors on him, he gets a little, you know, shaken up. And sort of loses a little heart, too. But he's a great pitcher, and that thing can do a lot, to make things go against you.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I don't think he got down as much on the 2 errors as he got mad at himself later for letting Aparicio get the base hit. See, because Sandy, Davis has made some great catches for Sandy, and I'm sure Sandy probably feels he's helped me out of ball games, like he hit the 2-run homer. The only thing about it is that I think it's human nature, and I think it's ridiculous to expect a fan to come there and say to him, "Don't boo," or "Don't say," because then you're going to a tennis match,
Before, he's human. I mean, and he can lose a game now and then, and he's a brilliant pitcher. There's no doubt about it, but. He can't win every single game, and some people, every time, if he loses a game, there are always fans that say, "Well, I told you he wasn't so good."
That's right, like they call up and tell you Jim Catt is better. Yeah. Listen, thank you for your call.
And first of all, the series, only 2 games now, and this other fellow is trying to say, well, American League, see that? I told you they're so great. See, if he was in the National League, he wouldn't have done this and he wouldn't have done that. See, they're so great. The series isn't even over yet.
I know.
Oh, it's silly, though.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Nice talking to you. Now let's hear this. WNBC.
Hello, Bill.
Yes, young man.
How did you like the series today?
Well, I got to tell you something. I'm doing a pretty good job with Alka-Seltzer today. I was a little aggravated.
I think Koufax was pitching a good game.
Oh, he was pitching well. I don't think he was pitching as well as I've seen him because he wasn't that overpowering, which, is the understatement, because you would have expected him to strike out Etchebarren in a situation like that. But what can I tell you? The guy dropped the easiest of fly balls on him, and that was all. Are you surprised by the way the series is going so far?
I tell you the truth. I thought the series was going to go to 7 games because you can figure that Baltimore's hitting is as good as Los Angeles is hitting. I mean, pitching.
Better, yeah. No, I say that too. You know what impresses me most about Baltimore?
What?
Their defense so far. Maybe it's just in contrast to how bad the Dodgers have looked in the field. But Baltimore's infield with Robinson and Aparicio really looks tough.
You see Snyder's catch yesterday?
Oh, it made a great play. There's a great example. You just gave me the best example. When they've had to make the plays, they've made the plays real well.
Koufax has had very excellent control today.
Oh,
he had very good control. He was hitting the corners.
What do you think? You giving up on the Dodgers?
No, I saw them do that last year, but I'd say it's good. I'd say it's going to go 6 games.
Well, we'll see. Thank you for your call.
Okay, bye.
Right. Pleasure. Now here's a message from Fuel Facts. I got to tell you, I had more the fact that we're out of time, because today would have been the kind of day I know I would have enjoyed. I know some of you would have been aggravatingly alive to the fact that I picked Baltimore to win it in 4. Excuse me. See? Rationale. I picked the Dodgers to win it in 4. Listen, you think the night that I saw that in the crystal ball I had the wrong uniforms on? Is it possible I could have seen a B on the uniform and thought it was Brooklyn? That's what it was. I knew one team would know. So I was wrong about that. It's been a perfect year for me. Anybody else you want me to pick? Oh, my aching back. How can one man pick him so bad? Stay with me. I'll show you. Listen, we'll see you at 7:15 with the latest news. And, of course, in sports, that is, a Joe Garagiola report. This is Bill Mazer. Hello again, everybody. This is Bill Mazer, and if you missed the final score of today's World Series ball game, it was Baltimore 6, Los Angeles nothing. The Orioles are now 2 games up in this best-of-7 series, and for those of us who were caught holding the Dodger cookie jar only to discover that it had been poisoned, there is only one thing to do: empty the contents and look for new ones. There are still ball games to be played, and there's a day of rest. Oh, yes, you needn't wipe away a tear. There aren't any more left in me. Oh, did you see what Willie Davis did today? Willie Davis, Willie Davis. I'll sit here and think about you as we both listen to Joe Garagiola.
This is Joe Garagiola. 6 men with a big job have some interesting reactions to that job, and I'll be back to discuss that in a minute. An umpire's job is one that if he does the job well, he's hardly noticed. In the World Series, 6 umpires work. We're going to ask each of them how it feels to work in the World Series as opposed to the regular season. First, Bill Jakowski of the National League.
Well, Joe, it's a very important job, as you know, as you've been in the World Series, haven't you?
Yes.
So, I mean, you fellas split up all the tension and all the nervousness amongst maybe 25 or 30 ball players. We split it up between 6 of us.
You do have tension?
Absolutely. Why not? We wouldn't be human.
Well, there's been some question about that. Then ball players get run for that.
Yeah, but you see, Joe, I'm Polish and I'm human.
Good for you. Bill Jakowski, Cal Drum of the American League.
Yes, Joe, I'd say there's quite a bit of tension here. There's more fans watching. You know, more people are watching you, and you got more crowd enthusiasm, which consequently just builds up tension, I guess. And
do you feel it during the game or just before?
I don't think so, Joe. Just probably when the game starts. This is my first World Series, and so I'll find out when I get out on that field.
Stick around with the regular boys, huh?
Yeah, sure will.
Mel Steiner of the National League. How do you feel, Mel?
Well, Joe, I feel that it's just another ball game. You got to go out there and do the same job. You got to do ball to ball strike. The only thing is that any decision you make, if you're involved in any dispute, it's magnified tremendously. But I don't know. I feel it's just another ball game. It's a job to do, and we do it to the best of our ability.
Yes, you do. Nestor Shylock of the American League.
Joseph, how are you?
Fine.
Actually, an umpire goes out there, and he's using his experience to get out there to do the best job possible. And I believe that once we walk out there, get accustomed to the crowd, the noise, well, then actually the tension leaves you, but you're still out there thinking about the good job you want to do, especially for this classic.
They won't scare you out of the ball.
That's it. Right, Joe.
Chris Pellicudis of the National League.
Well, Joe, you know, this is my first World Series. And in all the years that an umpire does go through the minor leagues and gets up to the majors, the one thing he looks forward to is to work in a World Series. And I don't think that the word like Nestor said, tension is involved here. I think it's excitement. I think it's a thrilling thing to be here, and I'm very pleased, and I hope that, as you pointed out earlier in your comments, that we do a job well. I hope we continue to do it in the World Series.
Sure you will. John Rice, the American League.
Thank you, Joe. I'm just glad to be here, and I'm nervous all the time, so I just am in a hurry to get that first pitch in here and get the World Series going.
Those were the 6 World Series umpires, and this is Joe Garagiola.
Dan, I just can't cry anymore. Let's face it. Final score today was Baltimore 6, Los Angeles nothing. We'll have our close look after this word from Schaefer Beer. Really, I don't know how you word this. Willie Davis is a good ball player. He's a ball player who, because of his natural talents, has led some people to think that he would make it on a monumental scale. In baseball, when you scout a ball player, you look, first of all, really, for his legs. If he can run, that's number one. Then you talk about his arm, because you work on the assumption that you can teach a man how to hit, but there's no way you can take a truck and make that truck into a car that will go in Indianapolis. I think Willie has therefore been under closer scrutiny because he's the fastest man in baseball. All I can tell you is that Willie Mays has played baseball in the major leagues for 15 years and has dropped 2 fly balls in 15 years. The second one occurred this season. Willie Davis dropped 2 today. It was my impression, because I have grown so used to Koufax, like you have, that when Davis dropped the ball that Paul Blair hit, the first one, to put runners on second and third, and Echebarren came up, figure, you know, Sandy's got to strike him out. He got 2 strikes on him, didn't strike him out. Got him to hit a fly to short center, and if I'm to take the word of the announcers, and it's the best word I can get, the ball was hit so short that there was no chance for Powell to score. Davis played the ball so badly, it was inconceivable, and he lost his cool, as the youngsters say today. Picked it up and he threw it 9 miles over the head of the catcher, Roseborough, and another run scored. As it turned out, that was all there was to it. That was all there was to it, except that the next inning, Robinson hit a drive to right center field, and Davis shied off the ball thinking Fairley was going to catch it, and Fairley never got close to it, and so it went for a triple. But the unfortunate part about all of this is that for weeks now, they'll be talking about Willie Davis, and he shouldn't be, because as good a pitcher as I think Koufax is, and I happen to think he's the best, he couldn't have won today, even if he pitched a shutout, because it would have been 0-0 at the end of 9 innings. And what the Dodgers are doing with their gloves and their bats shouldn't happen to anybody. They're just playing real bad. Baltimore won at 6-0. Mercifully, the Dodgers have a day off tomorrow. A year ago, they recouped at home. This year, they're going to try to recoup on the road. It's Bill Mazer. Good night. It's been a pleasure.